Okay, thank you, and welcome everybody to our Smarter Senior Forum, presented by the LA County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs in association with Adult Protective Services. My name is Kevin Chavez. I'm the Public Information Officer for Consumer and Business Affairs. And at our Smarter Senior Forums, we like to bring important information for older adults across LA County that can help them with their daily lives to keep them safer and smarter. So we encourage you to listen, to learn, to ask questions in our chat, and to share the information that you hear about today. Our special guest today joins us from the Department of Mental Health here in LA County. Her name is Dr. Haide Fakrabadi. She's a clinical psychologist for the Department of Mental Health. So a couple of things before we begin the presentation. If you are watching and participating live in our webinar today, please keep yourself on mute. If you have a question, then feel free to type it into the chat box. We'll begin with a full presentation from Dr. Fakrabadi, and then at the end of the presentation, we'll do questions and answers. If any of you have questions, at that point, we can either read your questions that you've sent in through the chat, or you might have an opportunity to ask Dr. Haide directly. So as a reminder, our presentation is being recorded and will be available to watch at your convenience on our website, our new hub for our Smarter Seniors forums. That's at dcba.lacounty.gov/smarterseniors, and also on our YouTube page for the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. So with all of that out of the way, I want to welcome Dr. Haide Fakrabadi from the Department of Mental Health, who's here to teach us today about the importance of resilience. Dr. Fakrabadi, please take it away.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's such a pleasure and honor to have this opportunity. Again, my name is Dr. Haide Fakrabadi. I'm a clinical psychologist with Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health, and today's topic is about resiliency. So this presentation is brought to you from Mental Wellness Series. It's part of our anti-stigma and discrimination team. The purpose of this presentation is helping individuals understand mental illness signs and symptoms. And also at the end of this presentation, I will be providing with some resources in Los Angeles County. And we also want to break the barrier. Stigma is one of the major barriers and reason that people do not seek mental health services. Often individuals with mental illness are labeled and identified by their mental illness. As a result, they're often stereotyped or looked down on by others. This is known as stigma. Often this stigma is internalized by the person with mental illness, leading to self-blame and shame. Shame may lead to secrecy and isolation, embarrassment, and anger. As a result, people struggling with mental illness may not get the help they need for fear that there will be discrimination. It's important to note that our words can be poison. The stigma of mental illness is real, it's painful, and damaging to the lives of older adults with mental illness. Stigma prevents them from getting the treatment and support they need to lead healthy and normal lives. Stigma discourages our older adults from getting help, keeps people from getting good jobs and advancing in the workplace. Stigma leads to fear, mistrust, and violence. And also, it may lead to prejudice and discrimination. So we all have a role to reduce this stigma. Some individuals do that by sharing their story. And also it's important to be aware of the words that we use. And it's very important to support individuals with mental health issues. And we want to respect everyone, treat everyone with respect. All right, as I mentioned, today's topic is about resilience, the courage to come back, and it's specifically targeted for our older adults. Please note that this presentation is for general guidance, and it's not intended to substitute for any kind of professional healthcare and advice by physician and other authorized qualified healthcare providers. If you think you have a medical problem, please consult your medical practitioner immediately. So we're going to be talking about, what does resilience mean? Why is it important to develop resilience? Resilience and mental health. Older adults may be already more resilient. Resilience can be developed, and tips to become more resilient. As I mentioned, I'm going to be providing you with some of the resources in Los Angeles County. Resilience is one of the main components of mental health. It can protect us and improve our mental health. Resilience defines by researchers as going back to what we were before when we faced those stressors. That means that we are able to anticipate, prepare, respond, and adapt to the changes that have disrupted our lives. And it's important for us to survive and grow and prosper. Talking about stressors, facing stressors. For over a year, due to this pandemic of coronavirus COVID-19, we faced many challenges that we've never faced before. It impacted all aspects of our life, the way we work, study, shop, travel, interacted with our family. All of these stressors can impact our physical health and mental health. It's important to note that how resilient we are also involves embracing failures and being able to learn from our own mistake. Being resilient does not mean that a person does not experience any kind of difficulty or adversity in life. As a matter of fact, the road to resiliency, it's filled, unfortunately, sometimes with sadness and distress. As we get older, we experience some unique challenges. For example, experiencing chronic illnesses, physical limitation, loss of a loved one, change in our social status, and life transitions. I talked about this coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic that we are facing that is impacting all aspects of our life. March 11, 2020, the World Health Organization declared that coronavirus COVID-19 is a pandemic. At that point, 118,000 cases were reported from 110 different countries. And today, over a year, here in the United States alone, unfortunately, we lost over 500,000 individuals due to this pandemic. Yes, we faced many challenges and obstacles. And here we are today, joining via Zoom and having these presentations. Being connected to social network and support system is imperative, and we're going to be talking about it throughout this presentation. As we get older, the chances of us having chronic health issue increases. It's part of our normal aging. And these chronic illnesses can impact us. We may have difficulties with walking due to a variety of reasons. Loss of a loved one. Unfortunately, as we get older, we may experience more grief and loss, the loss of our loved ones. And they can be our support system. And also Our social status may change as well too. Doesn't impact everyone, but some people may be impacted by that. And life transitions, any kind of move and changes in our life can create stress, and stress can impact us. When we are facing adversity in life, we are all different how we express ourselves, because stressors in life push us, threaten us, worries us, scare us, thrill us. And we are all different how we cope with these stressors. Unfortunately, sometimes individual resorts to negative way of coping that creates more issues and problems. And as I mentioned, this major pandemic that we're facing, which is, the good news is it appears that here in LA County, this pandemic is being under control, which is a great news. But we still need to follow those health and safety protocols. So resilience, it's important to our physical health, and it is also important to our psychological health. And our physical health and mental health are both related. When we are facing adversity in life, when we're facing stressors in our life, study shows that it can impact us to a point that individual may have physical reaction, headaches, low energy, stomach issues. When we're facing chronic stressors, we may have low immune system. And when we have low immune system, the chances of us getting infected with all these diseases increases. Our blood pressure may go up, and a host of other physical health issues. And also, study shows that prolonged stressors in our life can increase the chances of us developing depression, anxiety, anger, confusion, irritability, being impatient, may have more negative thinking, be more fearful. It can also impact our memory, and some individual may experience helplessness and hopelessness. Therefore, it's imperative to find ways to deal with these stressors in life. And resilience is our ability to adaptively cope with these stressors in life and bounce back to the way that we were prior to facing these stressors. But we're not going to be the same person going back after coping with these stressors. We have learned and gained experiences through this road to resiliency. Study shows that as we get older, we're more resilient. There are a variety of reasons. Although we have fewer maybe friends, but the friendship that we have developed is more meaningful. When we get older, we are better at managing our emotions. We are better in solving problems, and we are better in dealing with stress. We can draw on our experiences. When stressors happen in our life, as we get older, we may say, you know what? I've faced this stressor before. I know how to reach out and ask for help and resolve this issue. The good news is resilience can be developed. And these are some tips that I'm going to be reviewing with you. And I look forward to hearing from you as much as you feel comfortable to share about your road to resiliency. Or if you want to add to some of these tips so we can share with others during our presentations in the future. Tip number one is emotions are important. I talk about anger. Anger is one of our emotions that we all experience. It's normal to get angry. As a matter of fact, anger is a very complicated emotion because many times there may be some other emotions behind this anger. Sometimes when we feel that people are failing our expectations, we may get angry, we may get upset. But the way we handle the situation is important. The way we manage our emotion is very important because we are all responsible for our behavior. Positive emotion minimizes the impact of stressful events. Positive emotion helps us see opportunities when we're facing problems and we're engaging in problem solving. Our self-view is important. It impacts our mental health. Having a positive self-view can help us develop goals and follow those goals. Give us the attitude that I am able to overcome this obstacle in life. Developing an optimistic attitude can lead to promising outcomes. We can see the silver lining. I understand when we are facing stressors in our life, it is so difficult to find anything positive in it. But it is important to engage in positive emotions, be optimistic, and see opportunity when we are facing adversity in life. Another one is remembering our past success. It helps us to come up with strategies that we can use in the future. It makes us feel more confident and more able to handle challenges and stressful events in life. When life gives us lemon, make lemonade. When we are facing adversity in life, looking at it differently. I always use this example, and I always tell people, if I tell you I went to my friend's home and she gave me a cup of tea, half empty, it's different than when I say she gave me a cup of tea half full. I know that my camera is off right now, but usually, even from our facial expression that we take a different stance when we talk from a positive view of things. So sometimes, unfortunately, some of the stressors that are happening in our life, there is not much we can do about it. But what we can do is look at it differently. Look at the opportunity that comes out of these stressors that we are facing. We cannot change the fact that highly stressful events happen in our life, but we can change how we interpret and respond to these events. As I mentioned, anger is one of our emotions. It is so important to manage these strong emotions. Don't allow things blow out of proportion. Keep things in perspective. After all, we are all responsible for our behavior. And when we're angry, we give the message to people around us that I am dangerous. I'm going to say something or do something to hurt you. And people don't want to be around angry individuals. We become fearful. We get scared. And these individuals may be our support system, our family member. So by showing these strong emotion to them and not being able to manage it properly, it can impact our relationship. So it's important to keep things in perspective and manage our behavior, finding proper and adaptive ways to express our emotions. Yes, absolutely. Having a trusted person, a support system, and let them know how we experience can help us manage these strong emotions. Another one is having a social network and support system and hobbies, engaging in activities that gives us pleasure. The more we spend time in pleasurable activity, we leave less room and time to engage in activities that makes us sad and unhappy. Self-care is an important aspect of our life, especially during this pandemic. Then we found out taking care of self is imperative. Having a social network is imperative. Over a year of physical distancing, quarantining, staying at home, and for some of us, social isolation really impacted us. That's why anytime I had opportunity, I would tell people, connect, interact with other individuals, even if it is virtually. It helps us to connect with individual, and connecting with individual not only makes us feel good, also connects us to resources as well. And again, the type of activity is not important, but it is important to you. So that's why each individual is different in the hobbies that they choose. But it's important to have these hobbies and doing something that we enjoy. So connect with your loved one, with your family and your friends in your community. Of course, face-to-face is wonderful. It's great. That's the way we all know. We're a human being. We need that social interaction. But because of health and safety, we all learn to from distance using a phone, Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, variety of groups we found. As a matter of fact, now many of the centers that we used to go, they're providing their resources and services using a virtual platform. So getting involved is important, even if it's virtually. Surfing internet is wonderful, but again, we need to be having safety in mind, and sometimes joining some of the groups. If we're not sure, we need to be careful when providing our information. Finding hobby is important. Reading a book, listening to music, dancing, painting, photography. I hear a lot from our community that people say, I used to play piano. Now I'm just picking it up and playing it again. Gardening, we hear that a lot, that people doing a lot of yard work and gardening. So whatever makes you feel good, it's important to engage in. I'm here to tell you that Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health cares for the well-being of its residents. And it's okay to reach out and ask for help from your support system. That's why they're here in the community. When we're connecting to our support system, if it's our family member, if it's our friends, if it's our neighbors, if it's our church, synagogue, mosque, our religious leader, our primary care provider, whoever is your support system, it's okay to reach out and connect with them and ask for help. It increases our happiness and improves our emotions. And it provides us with a sense of security. And again, as I mentioned, when we're connected to our community and our support system, it connects us to resources as well. Of course, physical exercise, good nutrition, these are imperative to our physical health and our mental health. And study shows that when we engage in these kind of activities, it improves our mood as well. And I understand because of the closure, many places were closed, but we can even do very light exercise activities around where we live, maybe walking if it's safe, going outside, or even in our inside environment, we can engage in activities. There are many groups through maybe senior centers that they have their exercise group virtually as well too. So please reach out to your community service centers and asked about the programs that they have. Physical exercise, socialization, and good nutrition. It's good for a healthy brain. And as we're aging successfully and healthy, it's important to care for our physical health and our mental health. And it also improves our immune system, because when we exercise, it reduces our stress. Also, exercise releases chemicals in our brain that improves our mood and decrease our anxiety. And it helps us to see things in a more positive and optimistic way. We should always have purpose and goal in life. And whatever goal you set for your life, take a decisive action. Do something regularly. One of the things that happened during this pandemic was our structure changed, our schedule changed. And we were anxious and worried for the health and safety of ourselves and our loved one and our community, which was understandable. But when we're anxious and stressed and worried, we need to have control in our life. And one of the things that we can have control in our life, having a set schedule and doing something regularly. So bringing structure in our life can help us manage some of these stressors and anxiety as well. Always have purpose in life and have goals. And if your goals are big, it's okay. Break them down into small steps. And anytime you reach any of those steps, reward yourself with something great and positive. That gives us the energy and motivation to work on other steps and getting closer to our goal. So taking decisive action rather than detaching completely from the situation and problem. Unfortunately, when we experience depression, we don't want to do anything. That inactivity, not wanting to do anything. So we need to counter that. We need to take action and bring structure into our life. So these are just a summary of the tips that we talked about. Negative feelings will come up. It's normal and natural. As I mentioned, feeling anxious and worried and fear of the future, especially in the face of a pandemic, it's normal. But we want to find positive ways to cope with these stressors in our life. Develop a positive and optimistic attitude in life. Work on your social support. Expand your social network. Unfortunately, as we get older, we may lose some of our support system. So it's important to expand on that. Being around people who care for us and we care for them. They trust us and we trust them. Pursue hobbies. Take care of your body. Exercise regularly. And move towards your goal and take decisive action. These are important tips for developing resilience in life. During this pandemic, American Psychological Association did many studies and asked people about the stressors that they're facing in the face of this pandemic. Unfortunately, we see that from the survey that some people reported the increase of their use of alcohol is up. People's sleep is interrupted. People's weight has changed. People have canceled or postponed their medical appointment that they needed to follow up. And also their level of exercise has dropped. So again, it's imperative for us to find positive ways to cope with these challenges and stressors in our lives. And also, American Psychological Association has 5 tips that I want to share with you. They're evidence-based advices when facing stressors. They talk about, it's important to be informed and listening to the news. But if the news is upsetting you, overwhelming you, it's okay. Take a break. Too much negative news can impact our mental health and increase our stress. And also, if the news is overwhelming you, and if you have children at home, if it's overwhelming you, trust me, it will overwhelm them as well. So manage that social media consumption and news if it's overwhelming you. Another one is finding 3 good things that happen to you each day. At the end of the day, reflect on 3 good things that happen to you. I wish big and great thing for all of you every day in your life. But not every day good and big and great thing is happening in our life. Even if it's something small, at the end of the day, reflect on it and remind yourself of it. If you had a good conversation with a friend or family, if you watched a comedy or a show that you really enjoy, just remind of yourself of 3 good things that happened to you during the day. And also encourage your children and other family member or friends to do the same thing as well. And practice self-care. Taking care of ourselves, it's imperative. Even if it's for a short period of time, like maybe 15 to 30 minutes of a walk or a good telephone conversation with a good friend or family member. Stay connected with friends and family, as I mentioned, even if it's virtually, and keep things in perspective. We talked about it. Avoid negative interpretation of things and focus on positive things in your life. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm from Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health. The Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health cares for the well-being of its residents. Our Los Angeles County is huge, over 4,000 square miles, over 10 million individuals live in our LA County. The Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health is the largest department of mental health in the nation, and we're here and available to serve our residents. We have a 24 hours, 7 days a week telephone helpline, 1-800-854-7771. You can call and press 1 and get the local clinics and mental health providers in your area. If you press 2, you can be connected to our emotional support line, which is available from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week, and available in multiple languages. And please visit our website for more information, dmh.lacounty.gov. And also, Headspace application, which has numerous meditation and exercise activities. It's free to LA County residents. Please visit our website and has all the information how you can download this application. And also, if you don't want to download the application, they have a variety of samples that you can listen to. 211 is Los Angeles County Information Line. It's 24/7 in multiple languages. And also they have a website that they can provide you with all kinds of resources in LA County. We don't want anyone to be abused or neglected. No child, no adult, no dependent adult, and no older adult. If for any reason you think yourself or someone you know is being abused or neglected, Adult Protective Services take these report. If individual is 65 years or older in state of California, they're considered older adult. If they're being abused or neglected, Adult Protective Services take those reports. And also if individual is between the age of 18 to 64, And because of their physical health or mental health limitations, they're relying on other people for care. If they're being abused or neglected, Adult Protective Services is taking those reports and they get help for the individual who is the victim of the abuse and neglect. 877-477-3646. Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health has a variety of resources and services related to mental health for all age group. Our Genesis program is a specific program for our older adult age 60 years and older. It's a field-based services. And Genesis, it's all abbreviation. G stands for geriatric, E evaluation, and network, E encompassing, S services, I intervention, S support program. We have a licensed clinical social worker, registered nurse mental health, case manager, and a psychiatrist work as a team. And we do a comprehensive assessment. If the individual qualifies for our services, we provide services at home or any place that individual finds it conducive for them. So the telephone number for our Genesis program is 213-351-7284. You can contact them. And if you have any question, my colleagues are available to answer your questions. And all of the information I provided to you with a summary of this presentation, we have a one-page handout that it can be distributed to you if you are interested in. Another resource is the LA Warmline, which is available 7 nights a week in English and Spanish from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. 855-952-9276. It's a confidential telephone helpline, support line. Happens from time to time. We may feel anxious and worried, and we want to talk to someone. They're available to provide the help and support for individual. These are my colleagues at Anti-Stigma and Discrimination. If you're interested in scheduling presentation, please let us know. And thank you so much for providing me with this opportunity and this time. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So if you have any question.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Dr. Fakrabati. I just wanted to follow up just briefly. I know that there was a lot of information shared. And as was mentioned, there will be a simplified version, a one-sheet flyer that's available right now on our Smarter Seniors website. So if you go to dcba.lacounty.gov/smarterseniors, which is probably the same place many of you registered for this webinar, today you can find a simple flyer with a lot of the tips and the phone numbers that were shared here today. I would like to share with you one more, and that's for our department, the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs with LA County. At that same website, you can find a lot of information about how to keep yourself safer and smarter in regards to financial scams. There are a lot of scams going around these days and all the time, and particularly in light of COVID, around vaccines and other things that are going on in our community right now. So we want to make sure that you're smarter and safer. So you can go to that website. If you suspect that you are a victim of fraud or a scam, then you can report that to us at the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs at 800-593-8222. So this concludes the presentation part, and we'll move next into a question and answer session.